What's going on, guys? It's Angelo here, back with No Reserve Radio. I was talking to Alex, and he was talking about his concept for his top 10 power rankings, and Alex, you depress me. That's just you depress me.
What is going on, guys? Now that your Bengals are supposedly back, you need something else to depress you. So here I am with my
Yeah,
takes.
yeah, I guess so. And I wouldn't call the Bengals back yet, but it was a really good sign. I actually didn't watch the game. That was the first game I didn't watch, so I must be a curse on the Bengals. So I guess I'm not going to watch the rest of the year. You know, that's how that goes sometimes. Your Seahawks were on a bye. Were you sad? Not. Was it weird to you? Like, because that was how it was for the Browns, because the Browns were on a bye. And I looked and see who the Browns played this week, and it was no one. I was like, wow. So the Bengals play at 4 and the Browns play no one. Because usually one of those teams play at 1. And I'm just like, I get that game. So it was weird.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they usually like the Seahawks usually play like in the late window because West Coast and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of knew that they weren't playing this week because I own quite a bit of Seahawks in a lot of fantasy leagues. So I didn't have them available. So that was a headache. So yeah, not really that big of an issue because there were still football games, and that's what I like to see. So yeah, I don't have that attachment to the team like most of you guys have. Like I just like the team because it was the team that I started supporting.
You're just weird. That's just
Yeah,
weird. How do you
like
not have, like, support, like, attachment to the Seahawks?
because I'm not from. I think like part of the support comes from being in the area and like growing up watching the team, and that usually comes like from childhood and so on. And I have
Yeah.
that attachment with my soccer team because like that's a team that I watched since I was like 2 or 3 years old. But like the Seahawks, I started watching them when I was like what 17 years old, 18 years old. So
Mm,
it's a different type of attachment, I guess.
I guess that's fair. Oh, so
We are almost done with week 5. We're recording this on Monday, October 9th. So we are missing the Green Bay Packers and the Las Vegas Raiders game that's happening tonight in
I don't
like
think I
five
don't think
hours.
that moves the needle for either of our top 10 either. So that's kind of
Yeah, I don't think no one will
irrelevant
have them.
almost. But at the same time, I mean, I have been on the Packers hype train this whole season, so I actually just can't wait to see them.
Yeah, should be like whenever I don't know how it is for you, but I usually like I just watch Red Zone. So whenever I get primetime games,
And what?
yeah, I Red Zone is like 90% of what I watch on like regular Sundays
That's just
outside of
fun.
the primetime games. Yeah, so I usually have like one game or two in another TV, for example, but Red Zone is where I pay like most of my attention. So whenever I get primetime games, it's always good to be able to like dissect the games a bit better, and I think that's sort of why I don't have one of the teams that you really like in my top 10 because I watched them play and I was not
You watch
impressed.
no, you didn't watch them play. You watched them play in the red zone. That's why.
No. That one I watched like the full game because it was a London game. I guess we're kind of giving it a spoiler here, but I guess we can start with that game. I watched it because it was the London game, so it was the only game on. So I managed to watch it in full, not on Red Zone.
Hmm,
So I guess we can start there.
those look bad.
Do they though? I mean, the offense. I was chatting with you while I was watching the game. You were at work when the
Yes.
game was going on. Like the offense of the Bills looked sluggish, but I kind of understand it because it's the London game and it takes a while to adjust. I don't. I think like if you look at the week prior, Atlanta and Jacksonville, both offenses sort of look a bit sluggish as well. I think it's just the London factor, like the troops and so on. It takes some time to adjust. And like the Jags were in there for like an extra week, and like their offense, like if you just look at the box score, wasn't bad. What I watched though, I
ETN at
didn't
the end. That's what I got to see.
I didn't really like love what I watched from either offense. Like the defenses played lights out in my opinion, but the offenses though, and that just might be because like the defenses are pretty good. But like Jacksonville's offense, they look completely off whenever they get inside of the 30. And I was saying this to you, and I think like in one of our leagues, like Corey mentioned it as well, that he like the offense looks inept whenever they enter the 30. And in this game, I think he had like Trevor Lawrence, he had like two or three fumbles, if not mistaken, in there. One of them was
Yeah.
just a boneheaded play because like it's a botched snap. He gets it back, so saves the play. And then instead of just taking the snap and accept the sack and accepting that the play's over, he tries to like flick the ball and ends up being a fumble. So just like really boneheaded stuff. I don't know what happened there. Like I get trying to save a play, but you kind of already saved it from being a turnover. Why risk it any further? But yeah, the Bills offense didn't look good. I agree. Like most of their like yardage, significant yardage came on broken plays or like end of garbage time stuff. But neither did the Jags, and both defenses looked pretty good. And like not to mention that the Bills defense had quite a bit of guys going down during the game. I believe Matt Milano is out for the year right now with a broken, I believe it's leg, if not mistaken, or femur, or something like that. Tibia, femur, something like that. A bone. He broke that in the game. And I believe they also lost one of their starting cornerbacks, Johnson, I believe, Tyron Johnson, if not mistaken. So, yeah, quite a bit of injuries. They didn't have Gregory Rousseau as well this week. Von Miller was back, but I wasn't impressed with either offense.
Makes sense though, because there were a lot of turnovers in that game, generally speaking. Well,
You
Josh Allen became the gift that keeps on giving in that close game, and then Travis Etienne happened. Like that's generally the gist of it.
It was kind of a really weird pick because he threw like a 50-50 ball and it looked like Diggs had it, but just when they came down with it, like the corner had it. I don't know who made the pick at the top of my head. But yeah, you sort of seem to like the Jags after what they showed.
Yes.
Explain it.
What's there to so the Jaguars were, if I'm not mistaken, in the AFC Championship game last year, were they not?
I don't think it was a championship, was it? The championship
Was it
was.
division or was it championship? I know it was one of the
I
two.
think it was division. I think they beat the Chargers and lost in the divisional to the Chiefs, if not mistaken.
I'm looking this up right now. AFC Championship game.
I believe the championship was Buffalo and
No.
KC.
Oh, it was?
I'm not sure. Or was it Cincy and KC?
It was Cincy.
Okay.
It was Cincinnati. Okay. So they made it to the divisional.
Yeah.
They have Trevor Lawrence under another year. They just had another year under their belt. Their defense doesn't look bad. Their offense was top 5, and while it has taken a step back so far this year, I've watched the Bengals take a step back this year too, and I still think they're fine. So it's just historic. It's just if I see a trend, I'm gonna believe the trend's continuing. It's not like they were one and done. They made a run. Just like, even though I don't have the Bills super high, I still believe they're going to be a playoff team and they have a chance to make a run. Like, I don't know. To me, it's until you prove it, I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Even though I do have Miami being the number 1 seed, that's more because we haven't seen Tua. When they're healthy, they look like one of the best teams. But the Jaguars already won a game in the playoffs. They've already proven that they can sustain it. At least to me. And it's just the next year. It's not like they lost a huge piece. So, I don't know.
Okay. I
I
understand. I understand that, I guess. My main concern is that Trevor doesn't look as good as he did last year, but I guess that can always
that's fair.
change.
Neither did Joe Burrow, but yeah, this week happened.
I
But even
guess,
though Trevor hasn't looked the best, they still won football games. That's kind of the thing. You can say, "Oh, he didn't look that great." They beat the Bills.
yeah, that
Like
is true.
what?
Th-
Like,
that is true. Like the win itself deserves merit. Like my concern and why I don't have them, I basically still don't have him inside of my top 10. And that's because what I saw from them, I was expecting more. Like
what, you were expecting them to beat the brakes off the Bills?
if you told me the game script of like the Bills offense will be inept, they basically won't be able to move the ball at all throughout to like the first half, I would expect like the Jags offense to show up and like make a real dent on them for the first half. And like the first half ends and it's like 11-7 and it's 11-7 because the Jags got a touchdown, and I mentioned this to you in our chat while the game was going on, because it was like a second or third and long situation, and they make a pass and it's incomplete, but a flag comes out and they basically get like a first and goal inside of like the five, and then they convert the touchdown. Like if that flag doesn't happen, that's like they go to the half losing 6-7 to a very, very bad Bills offense. I mean, I kind of expected more if you told me the game script. I obviously didn't expect more before seeing the game. I mean, I picked the Bills for a reason, but like
But
if you
you,
told me the
but
game
but
script,
but time out, time out. Did you not put the Bills as your number one team? And one of the reasons you cited was the Bills' defense. So, did you
yes.
think the Bills' offense struggling would just make it so the defense forgot how to play football?
No, but I also expected like if you told me the offense would look inept because of the London trip, I would expect that the defense wouldn't look as good because of the London trip. And then you would tell me like if you told me what happened in the game, that they would lose like two or three main defensive pieces in the game. I mean, I sort of expected them to not look as dominant. But to be fair, they look. I shouldn't put a lot of this on the Jags offense. The Bills offense played really good, but I really expected more from the Jags because of how much they had the ball and like how many possessions they had inside of the 30 that they just failed to capitalize on. They are not super clinical when they get there. They are making mistakes, and those mistakes, like to me, are not like what a team of that caliber should do. But I guess like the Ravens did plenty of mistakes as well, so maybe they should just be on the same tier, and I should just have a top nine. So
I'm just saying, just to me, the top, I'd say 4 or 5 teams have stayed the same. It's the 6 through 10. You could debate that.
that's fair. Like, I guess we can jump on to another game that really shocked me. And it's a game that I think you probably saw quite a bit of. It's the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders game.
Did it shock you though?
It
Did it
did.
though?
It did quite a bit, to be honest. I picked the Commanders,
I
like
know you
minus
did.
6.5. I
I know you
certainly
did.
wasn't expecting the Chicago Bears to, and like I think context should be applied here, because when you look at the box score, like you see that pretty impressive day overall for the Bears. I mean, you look at Fields, he had like what almost 300 yards passing. He had, I believe, he was what? Where were the stats here? Yeah, he went 15 of 29 for 282 yards. He had four touchdowns, no picks. When you look at that, I mean, you think pretty good game by Fields, no?
It was an all right game for Fields, I think.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, when you- what happened in the game, it's probably not super well described in the box score. because like I know at least two plays who went like combined went like for 80 something yards. So basically like almost a third of his passing total. One of those was like
If
a
I'm not mistaken, Colin Cowherd said something to the effect of half. I believe it was DJ Moore had like 2/3 of the yards and half of it was rack. It was
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it was like DJ Moore Fields threw for 282 yards. DJ Moore
Hmm.
had 230 of those yards.
Yeah,
So,
and like half of it was rack. Yeah.
yeah. And like I know at least two plays. One of them it was both of them were kind of late, but one of them Fields throws it to DJ Moore, the rookie cornerback that they picked in like the first half of the first round this year, Emmanuel Forbes. Instead of just like racking up DJ Moore to get at least a stop, force like a third and short situation when the Commanders were trailing, it tries to make a play on the ball, completely like fails. After that gets benched, and DJ Moore gets like 30 something yards out of a what I think it was a 5 yard pass or a 7 yard pass. So that's 30. And then in like the closing moments of the game, like Washington makes an all-out blitz for Fields to try and get a turnover or get a stop to get the ball back. They send an all-out blitz, and Fields just drops the ball to DJ Moore, goes for like 50 yards because there's no one like in the field to tackle him. So that's 80 yards. I mean, and there's plenty more. I think there were a few throws that sort of impressed me by Fields. Like I saw a few throws where he managed to fool the safety, drawn him inside, and then finally looking back at DJ Moore and making the throw. So it didn't look as bad as it did in other games. I don't think it looked like great. It just looked like okay to me. It just had like the Washington defense just didn't show up. I guess that's my point.
You're going to have games like that though. Like
Yeah, it happens.
I mean, but here's the thing, like I don't think we should use this as an opportunity to just knock Fields. Fields for the most part has had two back-to-back solid games. That is progress from where we saw him at the start of the season. Is it not?
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So
I probably just don't agree with like he's having a career renaissance. It's my point. I think
he's had that career.
like the Denver game, like we all know what happened there, and we all know what the Denver defense is so far. And like this game, like for what the third quarter alone, in the second half, for most of it, he wasn't being able to move the ball at all. Washington was very much in this game for part of it. You look at like 40-20 and you think it's a complete blowout. It
Hmm.
was for the first half, it was a blowout. But then like coming
Yeah.
into the second half, it was looking like and I said that to you in our group chat. Like Washington is winning this game. Maybe they won't cover, but they are winning this game because that was really what it felt like. And then the defense gets a stop, and the Washington defense can't get a stop. And basically, it ended up being 40-20. So, yeah, I
That
think it
is
was a
right.
shocking game by the result because I was not expecting either team to win by 20. But I don't really think this is the game that people should look at and point at and say that, look, Fields is back and Fields is a good QB now. Because when you look past the box score,
You don't have to say.
it's
You can just say it's a building block. He's building on the games. It doesn't have to be. Oh, he's a good quarterback now. It's he's making progress.
that's
That's kind of the thing with like really mobile quarterbacks is you don't really look for them to be like great like to start. You look for them to make steady progress until they're at that point. Just Jalen Hurts did it until he was an MVP candidate. So I think progress for Justin Fields in any form is good and just to keep going. I don't think he's going to get because the everything in Chicago is bad. I think by the end of the year Well, they don't have their first, so they're really not in a position to nab another quarterback.
No, they
So,
have their
so-
first.
no, they don't.
They do.
Oh
They
yeah,
do.
they do. It's
Carolina is
Carolina
the
who
one.
doesn't. Carolina doesn't have their first. So then yeah, then I think they're gonna nab a quarterback. So regardless, I think the head coach. I think it's very likely this is what happens. The Bears finish either middle of the pack or slightly below average. The Panthers look putrid, and the Bears select a quarterback with the Panthers selection after the head coach gets fired and the whole staff gets upturned again.
I'm just saying this because the Fields fan base is quite a weird one, and I've started to see some folks mentioning like, if Fields keeps playing like this, maybe we can just roll into next year with Fields. And like, okay, hold off on that. Let's like let's not forget they're still like a bottom five team in the league. And Fields is probably still a bottom five QB in the league, so okay, he is not the absolute worst QB in the league, but let's hold off on like saying that he should probably get another year starting. It's my point.
Fair point, but at the same time, it's. I don't think Justin is crazy as the sun. I don't think Justin Fields starting next year is contingent on how he plays this year because of how bad the Panthers are. I think I think there's a baseline. Like if he gets them to like a 500 record and the head coach doesn't get fired, then yeah, he'll probably start next year. I think because maybe the Bears move down from 102 again if we have the same staff. But I think if the entire like I believe the entire head coaching system and maybe even general manager get upended, no, a new staff is going to want their guy, and their guy is not Justin Fields because Justin Fields has already been through. If they get fired, two staffs now. There's no way.
I just want to point out that they play Minnesota's defense and Las Vegas defense both at home the next two games. So I
So
can't wait
looking
for
up.
the Fields bandwagon to pick back up.
I mean, he's already had two solid games. The bandwagon's picking back up, but the Vikings defense is putrid. We're gonna see another solid Fields game likely next week.
If it goes like this one, I'm still not gonna be sold.
Well, you can not be sold. It is what it is.
When are you putting the Bears on your top 10, Angelo? Tell me.
It's not happening. The Bears are not a good football team. Just
That we can agree on.
it doesn't matter. Like unless Fields is like Patrick Mahomes generational, it doesn't matter with Justin Fields. The Bears are not a good football team.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about another bad football team that probably deserves some attention. But how bad are the Patriots?
The worst I've ever seen them.
Are the Patriots like in sneaky
Legitimately.
contention for Caleb?
Yeah, kind of.
They're
If
one
they
and
keep playing
four.
like this, like here's the thing. Here's the funny thing is I've actually like watched A few highlights and B I've caught some of the Patriots last two games and there's just a lot of times where you just look they just pan to Bill Belichick on the sideline and he just looks like what are we doing here guys? What the heck is this? What the heck? So like it's not like they're doing the things Bill wants them to do. It's almost like they're messing up on their own accord, regardless of coaching. It's actually great. It's actually pretty funny to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, this is. I think we both were kind of okay-ish to eye on the Patriots, if not mistaken, in our
I think I had them
predictions.
going close to 500, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think I had them. I can actually just open those here. Yeah, I had them
I think
eight
there
and
was
nine. So I think you might have had them in
9 and 8.
yeah,
Yeah,
something similar
sure.
to that. And I don't know if this roster wins 4 games. I don't know if this roster wins 3 games. Like their next three, it's Las Vegas, It's Buffalo and it's Miami. Two of those are away. I don't know, man. I don't know, like, just, and the thing to me is like, uh, at this point, you're starting to hear the Zappy chants pretty early on. It's like it's a 2 quarter thing. Like by around midway through the second quarter, like the fans are starting to chant for
So,
Zappy because the offense can't do anything.
so this is now the second year in a row this has happened, and last year I guess we had the out of, you know, um, his offensive coordinator was literally defensive coordinators. But at what point now d- does this continuing where the Patriots offense looks absolutely abysmal? Do we start saying, yeah, Mac Jones is the guy?
I'm still not at a point to say that Mac Jones isn't a starting QB in the NFL. I think he's a starting QB in the NFL. And my issue with this, like, my issue with the fans always clamoring for Zappy is that one, you're destroying your starting QB's confidence. Two, you're chanting for a guy who was cut in the offseason. So the team has shown that they have no trust in the guy. Yeah, they brought him back on the practice squad and he's the backup, but he was effectively cut in the offseason. And three, like whenever he's in the field, he's not doing anything better than Mac Jones. Like the offense still looks putrid. And like last year, like guys who are still clamoring for Zappi because of what he did last year. I mean, I've never seen a guy who threw like an underthrown deep pass to an open wide receiver that should have been a touchdown, but because it wasn't like a well placed ball, it was an underthrown. It wasn't a touchdown. I've never seen a guy who like his highlight throw was that and have the fan base so like sold on a guy because like Zappi's a worse version of Mac Jones. So
Zappy's the worst version of Mac Jones.
yeah, like Mac Jones is probably like it's not even Walmart at this point. It's like your local grocery store version of Tom Brady. And Zappy is probably like your I don't know, man, your
Dollar Tree.
$1 tree version of Mac Jones at this point because like none of those guys are good. I mean, you look at their team and like I watched part of that game of that New England game because we both said that we were kind of okay. This is the game in which like Bill Belichick has the teams in order because he suffered an embarrassing loss last week,
Yeah,
and
I thought
they
there was no way. There was no way they followed what happened last week up and then repeated it against the Saints with a hobbled Derek Carr. Like I thought there was no way. Go on. Sorry.
but that's basically what I said on the show. That's why we both picked the Patriots.
Did
And
both
I
pick the
just had
Saints.
a yeah, I just had a completely wrong read on that because they looked even worse than the week prior. And like the offensive line can't block. Like they can't run block, they can't pass block. Jones gets pressured like immediately whenever he has the ball in his hands. When he has a little bit of time, I believe it was one pass. I don't know. The guy was. I saw one to Devontae Parker who hits him in the hands and he drops it. I saw another to I'm not sure if it was to Parker as well or it was another one of those random wide receivers that Bill Belichick thinks that they like can make into a star wide receiver. And the ball hits him right in the ends. He bobbles it in the air, and like the Saints defender picks it. So that pick is completely on the wide receiver. I mean, there's nothing Jones could have done there. Yes, Jones has made some bad throws, like the across the body throw we talked about the other week. The pick six this week to Tyron Matthew was pretty ugly as well. But I mean,
Yeah.
I put some blame on him. I think it's far from being the main cause of their issues right now.
Right, but it's well not quite a bear situation because I don't think Bill Belichick gets fired, but it's a okay. We've given this is now year 3 of this. We haven't seen what we wanted to see, and Mac Jones, regardless of whether you think Mac Jones is good or not, we have seen instances of Mac Jones making mistakes like the game where literally the last game where he had two throws across the body and the second one got picked, and you just saw Bill Belichick like, "What are you doing, dude?" So I think Bill, like the pride of Bill, is just gonna get to where they just like, okay, let's try someone different. I honestly don't know how much longer Bill wants to do this because if I'm not mistaken, he's like approaching his 70s.
Isn't he
So
already in his 70s?
that's what I'm looking up right now.
Yeah,
So 71 years old. Yeah.
yeah.
So here's how old Bill Belichick is. I was watching like videos of him talking, and he was talking about a game where Jerry Rice played, and I was like, Bill Belichick is that old, and it just like dawned on me, like, oh man,
When does his leash end, though? Because, like, he has a pretty
it
long
doesn't,
leash. It doesn't?
it doesn't,
Do you
I
think
don't think
it's
so.
infinite?
Robert Kraft? No, I don't think that. I don't that leash is forever long.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't even be shocked if it's one of those, like, surprising. I wouldn't say firings because I think the team has too much respect for
I
him.
would be shocked. I would be. I was about to say like Bill Belichick would announce his retirement, then come back, something like that.
I think I wouldn't be shocked if it's like an Urban Meyer thing when he left. Like, of course, not for the same reasons, but just claim itself and so on, and that you need a few years to
Mm-hmm.
get back to yourself. And that's just like the agreement that you have with Kraft, and they move on to it. But the thing is, for a lot of years, New England had a lot of coordinators that looked poised to be the next man up for New England.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have no one. Who is the next man up? Are you really going to? Are we really going to give it to Bill O'Brien after this season?
Right.
Like,
Well, but that's the thing. A lot of the coordinators have already had NFL experience. You already have seen, like, honestly, I think they might just try and go out, like, outside and try to find someone.
rough days in New England for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this offense is putrid. Like, they have nothing. Like, do they have the worst wide receiver core in the league?
Yeah, easily.
Easily,
Honestly.
right? Okay. Because like their one is probably a three in most teams. Like Kendrick Bourne should never be your wide receiver one unless you're
I
actively
thought it was
tanking.
Juju. I thought it was Juju.
Juju like doesn't have a knee apparently, so
Yeah, that's true. So,
I
oh,
get I
man.
guess I guess I can like grab on this and like just make a connection to another game talking about not having knees. The Ravens and the Steelers. Did you see what the Porter, the corner, the son of the NFL Hall of Famer, Joey Porter. That's his name.
Joey Porter, yeah.
Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. Did you see what he said to Odell? So he got a pick on Lamar late in the game,
Uh-huh.
and he picked the ball that was a target to Odell, if not mistaken. And
Mm-hmm.
like after that, I believe like he either told reporters or the reporters asked him what he said to Odell after that pick. And he said to Odell, "Go be a family man."
Go
Basically,
be a family man. Oh, no. I love it. I
keeping
love
up
it.
his father's trash talk legacy.
That honestly, that is like AFC North smack talking Nets finest, and I love it.
Yeah, so that's the other guy without a knee apparently, and probably without a career for much longer because he
Yeah,
has
he's
looked
probably
pretty
done.
bad. He looks toast.
Yeah, he looks pretty bad.
But yeah, that game was really weird, man. Like, I have no clue how Pittsburgh won it because they were down like uh they were down massively. Yeah, they were down 10-3 if not mistaken with like
That's not massive, but yeah.
yeah, I think they were down 10-3 entering the like with 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter if not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get like a I believe it was a safety. Yeah, it was a safety. They get a safety late in the fourth quarter, Then they get a field goal with 7 minutes and 10 seconds left. Then I don't know, like I actually don't know like what Baltimore was doing in any of their possessions when they were up. They just like they seemed really boneheaded plays. Like they weren't really trying to run out the clock. They were just it looked like they were actively trying to throw the game for some
Yes,
reason.
looks like they were actively trying to throw the game.
Like, I don't know, man. Like s- Pittsburgh couldn't move the ball. Like their offense looked as putrid as ever. Like absolutely nothing. And then like Baltimore was looking okay to good. Like they got a touchdown. They were managing to get some things going. And then like Lamar throws a pick inside of the end zone, going for a touchdown for some reason when there's like I don't know, like 5 minutes left in the game. And like they just completely unraveled. And Pickens hits a touchdown pass. No, Pickett hits a touchdown pass to Pickens. These guys really need to change their names. Um,
Pick
uh,
it to Pickens.
Pickett to Pickens gets a touchdown there for 40 something yards, and they win the game. Like for some weird reason, Lamar fumbles it in the end, I believe, if not mistaken. And yeah, that's the game. Like they are up like for most of the game. Like Pittsburgh has 224 yards, 224 passing yards, and that's probably misleading because like they got around half of that in like the last two drives, if not mistaken.
It feels like it, yeah.
Yeah, Najee keeps looking like he's running on dirt, on complete mud at this point.
What happened to Najee, man? Like
He was just never that good. Is that like the
he's
possibility here?
he's
Like,
just not that good. That's what we said. He's
I,
just not.
I think so. Like if you remember back in that draft, he was my I think it was either two or three running back, two or three, and I never like really targeted him that much. I tried to get him like one time in one of our leagues, but that's basically it because not only was he quite old when he came into the league, but like he didn't look super impressive, and he looks more like a guy who would thrive if he had quite a bit of volume. And right now he's getting volume, and it's still kind of sucking. Like he averaged like 2.6 yards per carry this week on 14 carries. Like that's terrible. What are we doing here? And like whenever Jalen comes in, like this game, it was the game that we finally saw it. Like Jalen came in and he bursted out like two runs for like over 6 yards each. And I believe like I saw a post on Twitter that it was like a tale of two running backs, and it was Najee took the ball for like -3 yards. Najee takes the ball for 1 yard. Then Jalen Warren takes the ball for 10. It's like, why don't you give it to that guy? That's like they keep making this more difficult than it should. And like I get the loyalty to the player, and I get like you invested quite a bit on that player. But at the end of the day, you're kind of like trying to win games, so use your best players.
Use your best.
It's pretty clear who's the best player is right what the best player is right now. So, but yeah, like I guess one point here is that like the Baltimore wide receivers kind of just all are not that good. Zay is like okay, but the rest is just like Rashad Bateman is bloody awful at this point. Like he had at least two drops that I saw, like hit him straight in the ends, and the guy like pop, dropped it. And Odell looks dust. And Aguilar is
Odell
Aguilar
looks
like
like he's done for the season.
Odell should be a family man. Go be a family man, guy.
Oh, you
Like at this point, just retire, dude. Like your knees are dust. Everything is dust. You're constantly getting hurt. He was hurt again. I believe he came back into the game, but he was hurt again this week. Like just just get better wide receivers, man. They were between Hopkins and Odell. And Hopkins looks so much more like a starting wide receiver in the NFL at this point.
He does. He does. He really does. And he's on a boring Titans offense. Gross.
Yes. And like we touted the Steelers to be one of the teams that we both were high on, that the consensus was kind of low on. And like their offense has looked terrible for like 5 weeks, and they are 3-2.
I mean, they are 3-2, which, by the way, that does technically make us right on that point.
Yes.
But the offense has looked putrid. It looks like only one wide receiver can eat. Sometimes that's Deontay, and when Deontay's out, that's Pickens. But I don't know.
Sometimes no one hits at
It's
this point.
hard because, like, you see the talent and you see the spurts, and they just ignore it. Oh, sorry. They just I don't know. It's like they're actively trying to fail. Almost. They're trying to lose the game too. The
Why
Ravens.
why are we not firing Matt Canada at this point?
I don't know.
Like, Jesus.
I don't know.
The offense does nothing for 3 quarters, and he's still employed? Like, it must be a dream to work for the Steelers, I swear.
Steelers and the Patriots.
Yeah, that's just like, sure, like I don't know how Matt Patricia kept a job like last year, but I probably don't know how Matt Canada keeps a job this year, but both probably. Like Matt kept his job all of last year, and Canada probably keeps his job all of this year, while like presenting this as your end product of an offense that you work like all week for.
I just
It's
I
it's
don't get it.
terrible. But they didn't want to throw the game as much as Baltimore, so they won it. And they are 3-2, and they are leading the division, aren't they? Which is like
Well, the
mind-boggling.
Browns had a bye week, so
It
I
is
think
true.
I think that's right. But
And the Browns, just this is like kind of the injury news that we should have talked about before, but the Browns, I believe like Stefanski was asked about Watson's availability for this week, and you didn't really give any reassuring answers.
oh, that's not good.
Yeah, he didn't want to compromise that he would be back.
Oh no.
So, might be another DTR week. Yikes.
Ooh. The
That's the
Browns
problem.
offense looks really bad without him. You can hate on him, but the Browns offense looks really bad without him.
It doesn't look great with him. Without him, it looks like pee-wee football out there.
It looks bad. It just looks bad. Like not as bad as Cincy at the start of the year, but actually no, it might be just as bad as Cincy at the start of the year. It might be just as bad.
We also, I guess we can talk about Cincy, but you didn't manage to watch the game this week. You were on
Well, I
strike
guess
until things got better.
I guess I'm just a curse to Cincy, so I
And if we're getting this type of Jamar Chase's game, if you're not watching, you might just not watch it anymore.
Jamar Chase. I think the Jamar Chase game is more of a product of T. Higgins going down and Joe Burrow finally starting to get healthy
That is
than
true.
it is like this is not the new norm. Stop it. But
He did break the record for most catches in a game for a Cincinnati Bengal.
did he really?
Yeah, 15 catches he had this week for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's good.
That is excellent. Did
Who
you
had it
see what he
before? Chad
posted?
Johnson?
Did he what?
Who had it before? Was it Chad Johnson?
Oh, I just saw the headlines, but it's probably either Chad or AJ Green at this point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, AJ would have been a good candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead, sorry.
Did you see what he posted afterwards on Twitter?
No.
He posted like 7-Eleven. Always open.
He was saying that the previous weeks too.
Yeah. So after the game, that like
It must be really nice, regardless of if you have someone like Jamar Chase or if you have someone like Justin Jefferson, where like the quarterback play necessarily doesn't matter as much, but when you have an above average starter, it just he's always open. If you can get him the ball, he's there.
7-Eleven, maybe 7-Eleven.
So
He talked the talk, he walked the walk. That's when you want to see.
yeah, I mean, I think as far as for the top wide receiver, I think him and Justin Jefferson both have great arguments. Obviously, he hasn't had a great start to the season, but like I think as far as receivers go, the NFL is in great hands. There's a lot of really good young ones,
And
and the
there's
top
there's
ones are
always
also
guys.
young. And the top ones are young. So
Yeah. And there's always guys coming up. Like just this year alone. I mean, you had the like the Puka Nakua factor.
the Puka.
And and Jordan Edison looks great as well out there. Like there's a few other. I mean, QJ looks QJ. QJ looks UJ. UJ. That's my bad
Quentin
joke for the
Johnson.
week. Yeah.
Uh,
He didn't play this week, so I really shouldn't like pile on him. But like, what other game do you want to talk about? There's at least
I'm trying.
one more that we should talk about.
Which one?
Oh, what happened last night?
What happened last night?
Who got sacrificed?
Oh, I already knew that was happening. That wasn't like that's not headline news to me. The San Francisco 49ers are just like head and above.
Do you
They just
know?
look head and above everyone right now, dude. Like that's just
Do you know when that feeling you have when you make like a decision and like instantly regret it?
yeah.
That was me when I picked the Cowboys because it's like, yeah, like I was like, when I really got into it, it was like I really just picked Mike McCarthy over Kyle Shanahan as a net coach. Like, what am I doing here? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
and
Yeah,
like,
you did.
I just knew I didn't even watch the game full because I fell asleep halfway through it. And like two offensive drives in, like one from each team, and I knew that pick was dust. Like it was just a mismatch, like on every single level. Like not only is Shanahan a better like offensive mind in every single regard, but the 49ers are a much better team in every single place at this point probably. And like their QB, like there's guys who can play in big moments, and then there's Dak. So kind of like I just knew it was over when I made the pick.
You
So
he knew it was over as soon as you made the selection.
I like at this point like I didn't watch the full game, but what I watched, it was the first game of Birdie in which I was like, okay, like there was no luck here involved. Like the dude looks poised in the pocket. He didn't really make a lot of, if any, errant throws that might have lead to picks. I mean, like I've never seen a guy who was picked like last in the league in the NFL draft, and then just sits in the pocket. And I know like the pocket is mostly clean. He has like probably the best offensive line in the league, but like he sits on the pocket, and it's a treat to watch whenever you watch back on those games because the dude goes read one, read two, read three, read four, sometimes read five, and then he just read one again and throws the ball to the read one like effortless, Jesus, without
Effortless.
effort, without any sort of effort, like. it's natural for him.
Yeah.
Like,
So
how,
here's a question. Do
how
you
does this
think
happen? Like,
I haven't looked at the lines yet, but do you think this then leads to like some ridiculous 49er lines like 14 was just the start. We're going to start seeing 20-point lines for the 49ers?
I know when this line came out, they play the Browns this week. I believe it's in
Yes.
Cleveland.
It was
I
like three
know,
and a half.
yeah, it was 3.5 before last night's game. I don't know where the
Yeah.
line is sitting right now. Plus, I know it was taken out for a while because of the Deshaun Watson things. But yeah, I mean, after last night, I would be shocked if that line is anything under 5.
I'd be shocked if it's anything under 10.
Oh, I don't think they'll give them 10. They,
I'm about to go to it now to see.
they would probably like in San Francisco. It would be like an 8-point line, 8 to 9. I think like the biggest line of the week, it's probably gonna be the Bills because they play the Giants.
Giants look bad, dude.
And it's another of those situations in which it's like people like to pile on Daniel Jones because the contract and they didn't pay Saquon, and Saquon is the offense, bada bee bada ba. But like, what can he even do there? Like, there's I saw a clip of the like I believe it's second year player Evan Neal. I believe it was the tackle that they drafted last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, with like a top 10 pick, yeah.
Yeah. Like Evan Neal, the ball snaps, and Evan Neal, instead of blocking like the edge, like that's sitting like right in front of him, goes try and pick up like a double team on the guy going on the inside next to him on the guard. And like the edge rusher just gets a straight sack on Daniel Jones. Like Daniel Jones probably didn't like give a
Didn't
birthday card
expect
to
it.
Evan Neal. That's probably it. Because how are you that bad of your doing your job? Like Jesus. But yeah, like the Niners look like the class of the NFL. Purdy looks like it's probably is Purdy playing like as the best QB in the NFL right now, or are we not there
No,
yet?
best. No, he's not playing like
Okay,
the best.
we are not there yet. I mean, but if this continues, like
Also, the 49ers line is 5.5 points right now. So I know where I'm going.
I don't know, it's probably the best defense that they faced all year. Don't know,
It doesn't matter.
and it's in
It does.
Cleveland. I'm
It
just
doesn't
trying to
matter,
find
dude.
out like
The best, the freaking Cowboys defense was considered one of the best defenses, and it doesn't matter, dude. It
uh,
doesn't matter.
they
It
lost
doesn't matter.
Trevon Diggs though.
It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
I'm telling you right now, it does not matter.
I'm just trying
The
to
mattering
find.
does not.
I'm just trying to find more reasons to eventually get burned on that as well.
I see. Yeah, you're
Cleveland out
just
of
not.
Cleveland out of a bye. San Francisco played
You're
a
just.
Sunday night
You're
game.
just not. Yeah, you're just not ready to say that the Cleveland Browns are about to get sacrificed. It's okay. It's okay.
The Niners played a very emotional game because
It's okay.
Dallas talked a lot of trash.
It's okay.
I'm just selling myself on the idea that that's too many points. But I'm probably gonna get burned again, so
5.5 for San Francisco.
probably. I mean, what did they?
14. 14 might not be enough points.
I refuse to believe that 14 isn't enough. Like
Just saying.
at some point, like something has to give here. Like they are not
No,
gonna be dropping like 40 every single game.
telling you. 49ers, baby.
Like they're even resting starters at this point. Like I believe like Sam Darnold started like playing in
Oh,
the
yeah.
third quarter at this point.
You
They're
look great,
closing.
man.
They're closing games out at the half.
Yeah, yeah, look, yeah, it's great. I mean, if you're a 49ers fan, this is great. Yeah,
Yeah, you can go to
just keep
bed
it.
sooner. I mean, it's perfect. You just need to watch like the first half of each game, and then it's like, okay, it's done.
It's done. We're done here. I've seen all I need to see. I can't seize no more.
So yeah, it's that was like a mismatch every. I don't know. I wake up to like a few tweets on my phone, and it's like, should Dallas find a new QB?
Come
Like, and you know,
on.
it's like I didn't really need to look into the stats because I knew what had happened after watching like the first half and then reading those tweets, and I'm like, okay, so it was that battle game.
It wasn't that bad. Okay, you got sacrificed, like I said. You know.
They got
It-
destroyed. And they talked quite a bit of trash as well. That it was the revenge game and that they were motivated and that
oh
this
yeah.
was their game. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
like,
Totally.
you lose
Totally
by
their game.
30. And then it was like, Micah Parsons comes out and it's like, oh, the game doesn't really reflect the difference in the teams. The score line, the score doesn't really reflect the
What?
difference. It's like, should it be even more? Like, because they rested their starters for like 2 quarters almost. Should it be like, is he saying that the difference is actually like 50 points between those two teams? It's
Unbelievable.
like know when to shut up, dude, please. It's like that. Dak took it like I think he played it well in the media. Like he said that he had some embarrassing losses. He wasn't expecting this to be an embarrassing loss, and it's probably the most
Why?
embarrassing loss he ever had. So, I mean,
Why?
at least just like be straight with it. Like you got destroyed. Just don't say anything else. Just like take it as like okay, we are the worst team. We are worse than them. Doesn't mean that like they're a bad team. It's just that they are not better than the best team in the league.
Now wait a minute. Now wait a minute. You did not call the 49ers the best team in the league last week. That role was exclusive to the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, they were
Now
my
time out,
second.
Alex.
They were
Now
the second best team, but that's a
yeah,
spoiler for this week.
yeah, spoiler. I was the guy who basically after week 1 was just asking who's getting sacrificed to the 49ers this week. You know? So
Yeah, I have finally
I am
embraced
ahead of the
that
curve.
another team in my division is the best team in the league. So
Alex has seen the light. He has come to the church of the 49ers and he gets it. He understands that unfortunately for him, his team has to get sacrificed 2 games this year.
what
Right?
else? What else can I say? It's like, I mean, I don't know at this point.
You
I,
don't know.
at this point, like, okay,
It's
maybe I can, maybe it's like a Sunday night or a Monday night game, and I can also just like watch the first half. So
it seems like divisional games, they last longer. The Rams, they fought the sacrificing for more than a half, but then the sacrifice came for them.
that's just
It,
great.
it,
And then I
it
need to
came.
go to bed late as well.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is terrible. It's just like at least injuries should come at some point because it's the 49ers.
If
So
it doesn't, then the league is just screwed.
yeah,
Like
probably.
a healthy 49ers team, I have no problem picking them all the way to the Super Bowl. All the way.
You know what would be a fun? I'm saying it's gonna be a fun Super Bowl, but like, in reality, it's gonna be one of those where it's like it's gonna look pretty fun on paper, and then it's a big disappointment. But a Niners Miami Dolphins Super Bowl,
Oh my god, does that happen this year?
I don't know. At this point, like if you go by my rankings, it's the San Francisco 49ers Buffalo Bills Super Bowl, but Miami isn't far behind.
Now wait a minute. Now time out. Last week I had Miami over Buffalo still, and you decided to put. Oh no! I looked at the 49ers schedule.
You looked at the 49ers schedule. I mean, it's probably not a bad thing to look at because, like,
One, the Miami Dolphins are not on the docket, but the Cincinnati Bengals are getting sacrificed as well as the Seahawks this year. And it's coming up really soon too.
and so are the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, and the Bucks and the Jaguars.
Everyone is
Oh
getting
no.
sacrificed. Like the Jaguars game, like if that offense doesn't change their ways and they
That
still
Eagles 49ers game is basically going to be for the first seed in the NFC. I hope you know that.
I don't know.
It is.
I'm not super sure.
I
I
am.
don't think I don't think the Eagles like reach what is it like
They're
week
5-0.
13. Yeah, they won't reach week 13 with an undefeated record. So
Oh no, they won't reach week 13 with an undefeated record. That
I
doesn't
mean
mean they're
if
not going to be like a top seed in the NFC.
I mean sure they might be a top seed, but they won't be in contention for the first seed if like
They're
who's beating the Niners like until like Philadelphia?
uh Cincinnati if we get our stuff together. After that,
That's
you
it.
know, after
Maybe
that
like
maybe the Seahawks.
Seattle,
Yeah, maybe the
yeah,
Seahawks, but
because divisional game and so on and so
but
forth. But
who's coming up? The Browns if Deshaun Watson plays. Not a chance. Vikings, the defense. It's not a chance. Jaguars, they're going to have to get hot. But if they play like they did in London, not a chance. Buccaneers, not a chance. Like, no.
yeah, so and if I look at like the Eagles schedule, uh, who do the Eagles have? Opening up here. Yeah, so if I look at the Eagles schedule, I mean they face the Jets next week at
Ooh.
New Jersey. That's an
Oh,
interesting one.
wow. Holy crap. Look at
Yeah,
that schedule.
Miami, and then they go at Washington again, and Washington always plays them tough. And this time is at Washington. Then it's Dallas. Then
That
they go
Miami
at
Eagles
KC.
game. That Miami Eagles game is going to be fun to watch. But yes, at KC, going to.
I actually think like the Miami game, they just get destroyed.
You think they get destroyed in the Miami game?
I'm picking Miami, whichever line is
Whatever
available.
line, even if it was like +1 or well, pick them or like +1 to the Eagles, you're still picking Miami.
Miami. I would
Ooh,
pick Miami, and the line won't be that big unless there's injuries.
there's no way the line's that
But,
big. Yeah.
but I would pick like Miami minus up until -6.5.
So you're saying a touchdown?
A touchdown. I would pick like I'm saying it right now, like 2 weeks in advance. Whichever line is available for the that game, unless injuries happen, I'm picking Miami. I think they just beat the brakes off the Eagles in that game, and that's the game in which like the Eagles finally wake up.
It's the game. So not the 49ers. They're gonna
Because
wake up.
49ers like that's way past that. That's like week 13. Miami's week 7.
That's true.
I think they get their brakes beaten off them. But yeah, like
Miami.
the Eagles have a really tough schedule.
I think if there's a game Joe Burrow gets re-injured, it's going to be against the 49ers because he's going to have to run for his life basically.
Maybe they get the dink and dunk going. Quick offense.
Oh boy, the tink and dunk. That's we would have to. We would have to.
I actually don't know how you stop that offense. Like Shanahan is like it's probably like a backup play to the backup play to the backup play to the backup play. Like whichever scenario happened is like Doctor Strange. Whichever scenario happens, he has seen them all, so he has a play for them all. So Is he the best coach in the league right now?
He probably has the best roster, so yeah.
But like even like sometimes you can have a bad roster, a good roster, and like your team doesn't look as good as your roster looks.
Hmm.
But like no, I mean this offense looks like
Amazing.
genius work out there. Like the scheme, the runs that he's designing, like the way that he like completely like fools everyone on the defense line by the movement of the fullback, and then like he's basically showing a run with the way that the fullback is lined up in the line of scrimmage, and then the movement of the fullback. Then like out of nowhere, everyone thinks it's a run, and it's like a pass to the fullback, and it goes for like 20 yards because like the scheme is genius.
It's
I
just the
met
49ers are just fun to watch. I
yeah,
guess.
I met Haas seeing them, to be honest. And it's like it's the division rival, so
Yeah.
but yeah.
Oh man.
Any
Well,
any other game that you want to talk about? I guess like small nod to like the Hackett Bowl.
the Hackett Bowl.
Nathaniel Hackett got the win there for the Jets, and plenty of memes going around for Sean Payton because there I've seen some memes where they're using. Did you see the Netflix movie about Sean Payton?
Oh.
No, the one with Kevin. I believe it's Kevin James playing Sean Payton, which is like the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, he has one scene in which he's like flabbergasted basically, and now basically they've made it like really look like Sean Payton. That's when you lose to the off-season champs because that's the name that he gave them, and like in complete shock, disbelief.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That
Zach
no.
didn't play great that game, but I didn't really like the game plan offensively as well because they went away from things that worked versus KC, and probably they went there versus KC due to necessity.
Mhm.
They didn't really think it was needed here because, for example, they went a lot of pass heavy versus KC, and here like they had leads for
Risa
most of this game.
Mania.
Yeah, they give the ball up to Reese quite a bit. Reese broke a big one late in that game or in the third quarter. But like there were points in that game in which it was like the game plan was pretty obvious. Like, and you have to throw some mixes in there because you can't just constantly be like, first down you run, second down you run, third down you pass. Like, it's the defense starts catching up to you, and they did that quite a bit in like plenty of drives. I really didn't like that game plan, but I mean, at the end of the day, they won. So but I really
We're
wish
gonna
they would go back to the KC game plan.
I'm gonna gush over Brees for a little bit. So, I understand like the way we perceive running backs is based mostly on opportunity, and we care more about opportunity than how good or bad the running back is. But when you watch Brees with the ball, does Brees not look like the best running back in the NFL for multiple stretches?
No, because CMC is available.
I guess that's true.
Um,
That's very true. I can't argue there.
but yeah, he looks like a top three to top five running back now that
It
he's
looks like one
healthy,
of the best,
for
dude. Like
sure.
I
Yeah,
love like there's a reason like this is going into fancy, but there's a reason like I moved Bijan and I kept Brees because like I don't know. There's just something about Brees with the ball in his hand that just looks different than Bijan to me. That's just me. I'm not saying Bijan isn't great. I'm just saying like there's just something about Brees that's just he's amazing, dude.
yeah. Now that he's getting back to like 100%, like he's playing great. I mean,
Yeah,
the speed is coming back.
I
Like
told you,
the way that he reads defenders, finds holes. I mean,
that week one
he's
run
great.
is a touchdown if he's 100%.
Yeah, I said that as well when it happened. That like that's because of the injury. Otherwise, that's how I'll call.
Yeah, that's a touchdown. But
Yeah, I just wish they stopped giving the ball to like Dalvin Cook. And I understand you gotta you
he
still
looks fat.
need to have Brees healthy, but at least get like your rookie in.
That was Aaron
Like,
Rodgers fan service right there to get
yeah,
we get like Cooks in there, like
yeah, he's terrible. He shouldn't really be getting like work at this
no.
point.
What did I say? We talked about this in the fantasy episode. You thought that, you know, would you be concerned if you were a Brees owner? And I said no. Brees is going to get 100%, and by midseason he's going to put Dalvin Cook in the dust. And what's happening? He looks like he's putting Dalvin Cook in the dust. Like,
Yes,
so.
that is true. I said last year that I didn't really think that Dalvin Cook looked that good, but I still thought he had some like
Because of the
small
money.
juice left. Yeah, he had the money. He like they would give him work because of the money that they gave him, and I thought that he might have a bit of juice left, not a whole lot, but enough to be like a rotation back. And I just think I would rather have their fifth round rookie playing right now than Dalvin Cook. And they have placed like they have called like game day inactives, coaches' decisions on two guys who are getting quite a bit of money, McCall Hardman and Carl Lawson. So I wouldn't be shocked if a switch comes eventually. Because they have shown that like money being paid is not an impediment to if you're playing or not.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
Robert
shocked.
Sala is playing for his job. He wants the people who are performing the best on the field because he understands Aaron Rodgers is in the building. This is New York. They expect to win sooner rather than later. And I'm not saying like he has to like make it to the Super Bowl, but I do think the Jets have to have like a positive record and insight that with Aaron Rodgers back that this is a Super Bowl contending team.
Right now, I have them going 8-9, I believe, and I think that would be enough to save his job.
That's right
To
on
be
that cusp.
honest,
I think somewhere between 8 and 10 games is the sweet spot. I think
yeah,
anything above 9, he keeps his job. That's just me.
yeah, I think that as well. Yeah, 8 wins is probably the number.
Yeah, we're considering it. Yeah.
Okay, any other game that you want to talk about, or
No, I
should
think
we
we
just
need to
skip?
get into our rankings.
Okay,
So you can be wrong again.
I guess you can go first because last week I went first, so you can just
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
So I did do some placeholders for teams on the bye, so I didn't move them too much. Number 10 again is the Bucks. I want to see them play, but number 10 is the Bucks. Number 9 is the
Okay,
Cowboys because no matter how good they look in a given stretch, they're going to disappoint you. They got sacrificed to the 49ers. It really looked like there was another tier between the Cowboys and the 49ers.
yes, yeah, I believe you had them fifth last week,
Yes.
and Tampa was 9, so both
Yes.
went down a bit.
Yes. 8 is the Seahawks. Once
Okay.
again, on a bye, the defense is hurt, but I do think they're at least playing like a top 10 team so far. We'll see as the season progresses. But like I said, the top 5 is where it's at. I think 6 through 10 is subjective. 7 is the Bills. I think unless
Ooh.
something crazy happens, the Bills will always be a top 10 team to me. It's just the Bills are almost like the Cowboys, except in the AFC to me, where Josh Allen is the gift that keeps on giving. And in the biggest moments, he's going to cause turnovers that's going to force you to lose games against your Cincinnati, your KC, your 49ers. So,
I do have one question for you,
good.
but it might be after this is done. But it's just like which what is like the bottom line for teams winning a Super Bowl? So, for example, do you think your top can win a Super Bowl? Do you think your top six can win a Super Bowl? What
Probably
is it for
top
you?
6 or 7.
Top 6 or 7? Okay.
Yeah. I think if you're 6 and 7, you're on the bubble. Like but you can make a run.
Okay. I'm basically the same. Yeah, I think my top six can win a Super Bowl.
I think Cincy is if this is the start, we'll see. But again, the Bengals play the 49ers within the next 2 weeks. I think if we get to the 49ers and the Bengals, I think if the Bengals beat the 49ers regardless of their record, I'm going to put them in the top 10 because like that there is no bigger statement than that to me of saying
Okay.
you're back. But anyway, 6 is Jaguars. These are all
Ooh,
three. Yeah. Yeah.
spicy.
Top top 5 offense. They look last year. They're starting to get their wheels under them. I think the Jaguars could do. I think the Jaguars are going to win the division. They could do something in the playoffs, but we'll see. 5
I'm
is
not sure.
Lions. 4 is Dolphins. 3 is Eagles. 2 is Chiefs, and 1 is undoubtedly, and you should have had them there last week, the 49ers.
Okay. So I made an audible
Okay.
prior to starting the show.
Yeah, there are
Uh,
no participation trophies for me. But go
I
on.
I'm actually I would give my participation trophy this week to Jacksonville and
Mm,
to Baltimore.
mm-hmm.
So that means that Baltimore is out of my top 10. And I'm gonna pick a team because I've said this prior, but to me there's a top 9. It was the same last week, I believe. Uh, and then there's a drop. No, I believe last week it was a top 12, then a drop off. This week I'm saying a top 9, then a drop off. So my 10th pick, I'm gonna go like a week early on this because I think by next week and the week after, I think
Well,
we'll have them here.
you're pulling a me.
And
Okay, go on.
I'm gonna say that my 10th team right now is the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
Yes.
49ers coming up.
Yes, I think I'm
Okay.
not sure if they win that game, but I think they will make that game close
Okay.
enough for it to be a discussion.
Okay.
So at 10, I have the Cleveland Browns. At 9, I have the Dallas Cowboys, same as you. And at 8, I have the Seattle Seahawks, same as you. At 7, they were on bye, so really can't do much here. I think I put them ahead. I believe last week they were. Let me see real quick. Yeah, last week they were at the 8. This week they're at 7. It's the Chargers because like the two
Oh,
teams
I
that I
forgot all
had
about the
above them.
Chargers. But aren't they
Yeah,
2-2? They're 2-2. That's right.
yeah, they're
That's
two
why.
and two.
That's why I don't think I had them last week, and I don't think this week.
But I
Anyway, go on.
think they're a sneaky team because of how they lost. But
Oh
their
yeah.
offense has been on
Oh
fire.
yeah.
Like
I think
Herbert is
another
having
one
a
or
great
two
year.
they'll easily be in my top 10. But yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
At 6, and remember, top 6 are Super Bowl contenders for me.
Yep.
At 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles.
6.
6.
The 5-0 Eagles at
The
6.
5-0 Eagles. I think they're fraudulent.
Why? They're fraudulent.
I think they are fraudulent.
They've beaten everyone they've been put in front of.
Yes. They indeed have beat everyone that they have faced, which at this point, just to be frank, I just look at at their schedule right now. So they have beaten the Rams this week, and they have beaten. Okay, so here's their schedule. Okay, so they beat the Patriots by 5 points, and it was a competitive game at the end. The Patriots are like one of the worst teams in the league. They again were in a competitive game until the end versus Minnesota, which it's like what 1-4 at this point. They had okay. This one was a game that they dominated versus the Bucks. Then they had a competitive game that was until the end and went to overtime versus the Commanders, who just got destroyed by the Bears. And then they faced this week the Rams, who again was a competitive game until the end. Like, I'm not impressed by what I've seen. And I think it's going to be another competitive game versus the Jets. And then I think they get their breaks bit off them by the Dolphins.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this Eagles team. I think that this Eagles team is not as good as it was last year. I think the injuries have been holding them back. And I don't think they have managed to find their rhythm offensively yet since they lost Shane Steichen. I think the tush push or the brotherly shove, as they call it for Philadelphia,
Eh.
is one of the greatest plays in
Now,
the NFL
let's
right now
talk
if
about
you need
that
to
real
pick up
quick
yards.
because I'm pretty sure that the Chargers I know have and the Patriots I know have tried to steal it and were not nearly as effective with it.
And the Giants. I mean,
Eh,
according to like the NFLPA, they are gonna look into that play during the offseason because the Giants tried to run it versus the Seahawks and they got like a tight end and like a few alignment hurt. So that's some 40 chess move by the Giants. Like get your own players hurt just so they can take away the Eagles play because it's not a safe play.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, on the New Heights podcast, the Kelsey's podcast, Travis and Jason were talking about it. I believe Jason calls it a 92% play or something like that. But he asked Travis why they don't run it more. They don't run a QB seek more. And he said the one time they did try, Patrick Mahomes' kneecap got blown out, so they're not risking Patrick Mahomes' health for a first down, which is smart.
Yeah.
That's 100% the right call. You do not risk Patrick Mahomes' health for anything.
Yeah.
So
And like it's not as easy as to say like run the play because you need to have the personnel for it. And I think we have discussed it here before.
yeah,
There's a reason why they are so successful at doing it versus other teams.
yeah,
And like that's just personnel. I mean, they have the best center in the league. They have one of the top all lines in the league. Their QB is built like a tank. So
yep,
yeah, I mean, they run a play that should get you like a few like what, like
inches.
half a yard. Yeah, should get you like half a yard, and they sometimes get like 2 or 3 yards. I think what needs to be revised in that play is when does the whistle go off? When do you stop calling forward progress? Because there's some times in which like the play seems to be stopped, like the runner isn't gaining any more yards, and then like instead of blowing the whistle, they let it go, and the late push gets them another like 1 or 2 yards.
Mhm.
I think that's what needs to be revised in the play. But like the actual play is okay because it's not something that like the whole league can abuse. It's
Right.
like it's a play that you run at your own risk, and they can run it because like as I said, best center in the league, and your QB is a tank. So
Yeah.
like put Jimmy Garoppolo running QB sneaks, you'll see how that goes.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I get it. You want to keep drives alive and you want to keep your offense on the field, but no.
Okay,
That's not the play to steal. Sorry, buddies. It's not for everyone.
it isn't. I mean, there have been countless. Just this weekend, I've seen at least 2 or 3 instances in which they try to run the play and it fails. There's sometimes in which it works, but it doesn't work to the extent of the Eagles. Like, they usually get like half a yard on the dot. The Eagles, like, I've seen them run it for like 2 or 3 yards at this point. If they just ran it like for a single drive, they just run that, they probably get a touchdown at some point because, like, they can't stop it. So.
No.
And if you're getting 2 or 3 yards, like you just need one of them to go for a little bit extra, and you're good. Like if you go all 4 downs with it, you're good.
I guess that's true. But
Moving on though,
yeah.
going into my top five, we actually have the same things in number five and number four. I have the Detroit Lions at number five. I have the Miami Dolphins number four. I have the Kansas City Chiefs at number three.
What?
I
What do
I
you mean?
have
You have the.
As
Okay,
I've
go.
said before, I have the Buffalo Bills at number two, and I have the San Francisco 49ers as the best team in the league.
Have the
And
three. You have the
and
three and two Buffalo Bills. Okay. Okay.
I will explain that it's because I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in the London game. Like if that game's in Buffalo, I think Jacksonville gets their breaks beaten off them. Like I think it's not a pretty game. So I'm not putting a whole lot of stock. If there's more games like this in which like the offense looks worrisome, I will put the Bills down some more. I probably like be aggressive in adjusting them. But for a London game in which like the
Uh-huh.
the opposing team was in London for like the past week, well, the past 2 weeks. I'm sorry. Um, just I'm just gonna kick it to the curb and say it's London.
Whatever, man.
But yeah, quite a few different teams, quite a few equal teams. But yeah, I guess we can just jump straight into the last segment of the show, or one of the last. Should probably be the last. But the picks last week, we still have one game to go. We're on opposite ends of this. I don't believe the line has even moved. Yeah, the line is the same as we picked back then. It's still Las Vegas minus 2.5. So we have that game left. But I went 3-10, another awful week for me. And you went 6-7. So you have a chance to at least go 500. And overall records, I am 32, 44, and 1. And you're 39, 37, and 1.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow, wow. That's pretty rough. Pretty rough.
Yeah. Not the best of weeks for us. This past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm, 3 weeks ago, I was fine. It was the last two have been.
I've been bad the last three. If we put the fourth week, I was good in that one. So I was good in week 2. Do you want to kick us off here?
Hold on. I'll have to get the. Oh, I
I
have
can
the
send
line.
you the. Like, oh, do you have it open?
Yeah, I have it open.
Okay.
And it logged me out. 1 second. Because if I'm not mistaken, we start with the Thursday game.
Yeah. And we have another. I'm not sure if it's London again or it's Germany this time in Munich. It's
Oh
another early
boy,
game.
it's the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs at 10.5 points.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I remember now. Yeah, this game is really messed up because like Monday Night Football, it's the Chargers at home getting the Cowboys. So KC plays on Thursday night, and on Monday Los Angeles plays, and then the week after they play each other. That's a really messed up schedule for the Chargers.
Yeah, it is. But 10.5 points at Kansas City. Ooh, man, that's a lot of points.
It is.
That's a lot of points. They just lost to the Jets by more, didn't they?
I think they lost by 10. I think it was 31-21.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Oh man.
The thing here is that you usually want to pick like the Chiefs in this spot, but like the Chiefs historically haven't been great at covering big numbers, so
Agreed. I think I'm gonna go with the 49ers, the Broncos.
okay, so that's Denver plus 10.5 for you.
Yep.
And Thursday night, like usually Thursday night games are really low scoring. But then I
Mm-hmm.
look at last week and you had like 60 points. So this is a tough line. Like anything under 10, I probably pick the Chiefs, like without much thought. Like 9.5, I pick the Chiefs. 10.5, the half is kind of tricky. Um,
The Jets would not have covered last week. That was the thing. The Jets would
yeah,
not have covered. That was the thing for me.
yeah, like half a point. It's like it's where it's where it goes wrong for me. And yeah, I think I will be. But it's Denver looks atrocious.
They do look
Still,
atrocious.
um,
They
I'm
look
going
very
KC.
atrocious. Go
I'm going
Casey.
KC.
Okay.
I'm going KC against my better judgment. This is probably the spot in which you get the Denver Broncos.
Mm.
Okay, next up, it's is this gonna be? I just want to make sure it's Baltimore Titans. And this is gonna be where? Where is it gonna be?
It says Titans home, but obviously overseas, no one's home.
Yeah, like 6, Baltimore, Tennessee. Mm-mm-mm. I actually can't find where it is.
I
Game
can I
preview.
can look it up.
Shouldn't really matter though, but I think now it's when it starts going to Germany.
NFL
Oh
Network
no, no,
and
it's still at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so it's in London.
London.
Okay.
London, and it has the most boring team in the NFL playing the Tennessee Titans. Oh boy! It
And
has the lowest over/under score I've seen this week. There's probably there's a lower one below it.
there's the lower one.
They shouldn't be. This should be really low. But yeah,
Yeah, I am. I mean, Ravens play the Titans at London. Titans are 3.5 point underdogs, and I'm picking the Titans. Titans plus 3.5.
I have to agree with the. I don't. I hate for picking the freaking Titans, but like, okay, they say the over/under is going to be 40, so they think it's going to be like a 20-17 game. That basically is just under it. So you're telling me with scores that low, that 3.5 points is a lot of points with a score total that low, dude.
Yeah, in with a team that has like no wide receivers in Baltimore,
I know.
and
Give me the stupid.
they probably
Give me the,
can't run the ball as much.
give me the stupid Titans.
Okay, next up.
What? The line changed in real time. It has gone from 5.5. So next is the 49ers Browns for me. It went from 5.5 to the 49ers to now 5. I'm
But
going the 49ers. The Browns are getting sacrificed. I'm sorry.
yeah, man, could it be sharp money coming in for Cleveland?
Yeah.
I'm going Cleveland still. I mean, the over under is like 39.5. It's the lowest on the week, as you've said before.
That it shouldn't be. That should be Baltimore, Tennessee, but
Maybe they're just, I don't know, man. I'm just going Cleveland. Cleveland plus 5. I think this is a game in which, like, Cleveland out of a bye looks better
no.
than people are thinking they will.
Cleveland's about to get sacrificed.
It was 3.5 prior to. Now, if DTR plays, I mean, I think like I couldn't be paid to take anything under like
14.
Cleveland plus 21.
Exactly. Exactly,
But
dude.
I'm gonna assume that Watson
You're taking a
plays.
pretty big risk that Watson is. I'm just saying. I'm taking the sacrifice. The sacrifice is coming. Like,
Okay. Next up for me is the Carolina Panthers at the Miami Dolphins. Over under is 48.5, and the Dolphins are 13.5 point
oh my god.
favorites. Almost 2 touchdowns.
Oh my god.
And
Are
I
you
am
calling?
I am picking Miami too.
You're picking Miami?
I'm picking Miami. I think Miami beats the. I mean, the Lions just covered that number, and I think Miami's at the
You
level
might
of the
as well just
Lions.
say you think the Panthers are about to get sacrificed to the like. God dang. Oh man. Like 13.5 is a lot of points. I'm gonna take the 13.5 and hope that Miami just doesn't roll from the start of the game like they have a tendency to do. So,
I think they get destroyed this week.
oh,
We haven't talked about Carolina enough and about Frank Reich enough, but
it's pretty bad over there.
Frank Reich isn't doing that good of a job. I think he's doing a
He's
pretty
no.
terrible job. And
I
that
don't
roster is
think
terrible as well.
it is. It is terrible. I don't think Bryce Young is as bad as he looks. As silly as that sounds,
The thing
but
to me with Rice is that it doesn't even look bad. Like, do you? at the end of the day, the box score doesn't look great, but he's still doing the things that he did well in college. He's still like
Yeah.
looking poised in the pocket. He's doing timing throws. He's like he's doing pretty well in quite a few places. But like the dude is probably what a top three worst wide receiving core in the league. He
Yeah, no,
has
it's the bottom three.
yeah, he has a bottom four, or bottom five whole line, and the defense is also terrible. So I do think they eventually trade for a wide receiver one, but not a great thing for that team. But yeah, next up is for you, and this one is interesting.
Ah, here we go. Just in time for Joe Burrow to start looking nice. Seahawks at Bengals. 2.5 points for Bengals. I'm rolling with my team. I'm rolling with Cincy.
And I'm rolling with my team. I'm rolling with the Seattle Seahawks out of a bye. Getting, I
Let's
think this
go.
line changed. I think it was 3, so it's going to the way of the Seahawks as well. Should have done this a bit sooner.
Your no cornerbacks are about to get like killed by Jamar Chase at the very least.
I don't know, man.
It's gonna happen. You're gonna get torched.
Witherspoon might take one to the house.
You're gonna get torched.
Witherspoon won't allow that. The next rookie of the year, Devin Witherspoon.
You're about to get torched. All right, you're next,
Next
buddy.
up, Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts are the Jaguars are 4-point favorites. The over under is 46.5. And I am going with
Anthony Richardson isn't playing.
yeah, we should mention that Anthony Richardson isn't playing, likely for a few weeks, if not months at this point. I believe
Which means I'm more likely to go with the Colts because now they're capable of scoring more than 21 points consistently.
I'm just gonna say that he scored more than 21 points last week, the week prior. But yeah, he should be out a few